Hi, everybody. It's Curtis Davies and Amy Whitney from RealEnglishConversations.com. And today we're going to tell you about one of our adventurous trips that we went on. Where did we go and what was our plan of this little adventure that we went on?
Well, we went to a little fishing town called Tewa Mixley. It's about 2 hours drive from Puerto Vallarta, so not really that far. And our plan, this is the thing, we didn't really make much of a plan. All we wanted to do was go there. We knew that we would be staying overnight. We had a hotel in mind we thought we'd probably be staying at, and just go to the beach and have some dinner or lunch at our favorite restaurant, and that was about it. So, why do we like to travel in this way?
We like to travel in this way and not make plans or reservations because sometimes things change. Sometimes unexpected things happen, and you have to kind of adapt to those situations and kind of,
Create your own adventure.
yeah.
So, anyway, we left the house in the morning a little bit later than scheduled. In my mind, and I should know better because this never happens. In my mind, we were going to wake up early at like 7 o'clock and leave by 8 o'clock or maybe 9. Actually, no, the original plan was to go leave at 7 o'clock, drive, go to this place that has great breakfast on the way, have something to eat, and continue on, right?
Yeah, we wanted to stop at that bakery that has really good tasty treats and stuff.
Okay.
But we slept in.
Well, we woke up at the usual time, which is about 7:30. And then we were preparing or packing, I would say, but we were sort of doing it in this slow, like we had all day to do it. And then finally I was like, okay, man, we need to get our butts in gear. Like, let's get this done. We need to go. But what time did we end up getting to Tewa Mixley?
We got there in the afternoon, probably around 12:30 or 1, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think it was more like 1 or 2. And that kind of interfered with our no hotel reservation plan because at that point in time, everybody and their dog is already in the town. Like, it's Sunday, so the beach is packed, and I suppose anybody that was kind of thinking about staying at that hotel maybe made a reservation. So, what happened when we went to the front desk?
Well, they told us that there were no rooms available, and we were like, "Oh, okay.
Wah,
mm,
wah, wah.
What do we do now?" And but the gentleman behind the counter said that there was a possibility that somebody might not show up or check in for their room, and he told us to check back with him in about an hour and a half or so to see if they showed up. And so we decided, well, we're hungry and we wanted to spend some time on the beach too. So we decided to kill some time and check back with him after.
Yeah, so we were hanging out on the beach. Man, it was hot. Like, I don't know why in my like I mean the beach is beautiful, but holy man is it hot at this time of year. So we were there, we had a couple of drinks with us in our cooler and went through those in about 45 minutes. And then we were like, okay, we need some shade. Let's go to the restaurant. And obviously they have cold drinks there and food and that sort of thing. So we headed that way. Now, this restaurant is actually the highlight of our trip, right, Curtis?
Yeah, we're kind of foodies. We like really, really good food. And we're really blessed to have the ocean as, right next to where we live.
Yeah, and this place is actually known for its oysters. They're absolutely massive.
They're huge. And this was the first place you actually tried raw oysters, right?
I think it's maybe the only place that I was brave enough to try raw oysters. I mean, oysters are pretty ugly and scary looking, like outside and in, I would say. Like they're not, it's
Kind
not
of
really something.
slimy little critters.
Yeah, it's not something that's really appetizing or, like it really didn't seem appealing to me. But literally in this place, you can see the fisherman. He's standing there on the pier and he has a bucket that's hanging over the edge into the water, and he pulls it up and he pulls out the oysters, shucks it, and it literally goes right there onto a plate, and they walk it up to your restaurant, to your seat where you are. So it's a pretty cool experience to have seafood that's literally that fresh. So what did we order from the restaurant?
Well, we ordered actually they prepare them in different ways. So this time we ordered the Rockefeller, I think, style, which is baked. The oysters are baked, they're cooked, but in a cheesy Alfredo sauce. So it was absolutely mouth-watering, melt in your mouth oysters that was served to us. So we decided to kill some time and eat those.
Exactly, and have a nice cool drink. And anyway, while we were sitting there at the restaurant, this guy who, was working at the hotel. I mean, this is a small town, remember, like 50 or 100 people. So when you know one person, a large percentage of the town. So anyway, we see the guy from the hotel that told us to check back in an hour and a half or 2 hours.
Right.
We saw him walking up the beach with his blue hotel shirt, really easy to see.
Yeah, couldn't miss him.
No, he's kind of a big guy, But anyway, so we saw him, and what were we thinking?
We were thinking, well, how is he going to know what is happening with our room? Where's he going? What's he going to do for the rest of the day? I was actually thinking he was going to go hang out with some other friends or family and other people hanging out at the beach. So
Yeah, well, that's what it looked like. He wasn't like he was literally hanging out with a group of people. So anyway, after we killed a bunch of time at the restaurant, we decided, well, we've got to figure out what's going on with this hotel. Where are we going to sleep tonight?
yeah,
And it was okay. Like, I mean, it sounds a little bit crazy that we went to a place and there was only one hotel and there were no bookings. What are we going to do? We figured in the worst case scenario, we could just drive 10 minutes over to Maito, which is another small town with a ton of different hotels. So we weren't really freaking out.
no,
But this is part of the adventure. And we always feel like, whatever we're supposed to do, whatever is supposed to happen will happen, and it's just going to work out, right?
everything happens for a reason kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and it kind of, like I said, the create your own adventure. We put ourselves into an uncertain situation, and now we weren't very certain about what we were going to do, but it's okay. We were still going with the flow at this point, and everything was good. So anyway, we went to the hotel. No one was at the front desk, and I was like, well, I got to track someone down from the hotel. So we found them, and they had a room. It worked out.
Yeah.
That one room,
That
they
one
happened to have it.
room ended up being available for us. And actually, it was really comfortable. It was air conditioned. Yeah.
Yeah. And in fact, it was the one with the king size bed, which is the one that I secretly was hoping that we would get. But, the fact that it was the one, I had lost all hope of actually getting anything I wanted at that point. But to get the exact room that we wanted, it was meant to be. Right. So anyway, after we laid like a couple of starfish on the bed for a while in front of the air conditioning, because we're pretty hot, what did we decide to do?
So we decided to go for a nice walk on the beach to kill some more time. It cooled off maybe half a degree or so. But on the way back to walking towards our hotel, I noticed that our car that was parked beside the hotel had a flat tire. One of the back tires was flat. And so this is when it hit me. Oh, we're in a really small town. They barely have internet and cell service. What are we going to do? I wasn't panicked. I didn't really care. I was like, oh, we have a flat tire, but what are we going to do? So what happened in that moment?
Well, it's one of these situations where all of the things actually hit you. One of the most obvious one being, I don't even know how to change a tire. Like, I'm sure it's not rocket science, but wow, are we ever stupid? Like, we're traveling out into the middle of nowhere where there's very little cell phone reception, very few services, and we don't even know how to change a tire on our own vehicle. Like, that was, a realization of some serious life skills we needed to learn.
We didn't even know if we had a spare tire in the truck.
No, I thought it was underneath, like, we have an SUV, a Ford Escape, so, you open the hatch and there's this flat area, and I thought maybe the tire would be like on the inside of the vehicle or something. But anyway, long story short, we're in the parking lot and there was this guy standing there, and he saw we had a bit of a problem on our hands, and he came and he offered to help us. So what happened?
He looked at the tire, and I looked at him, and he was kind of pretending that he didn't know what to do, but then he ended up having an air compressor machine. Out of all of the people in this little town, not many, but he was the one that had the air compressor.
Yeah.
So his idea was to fill the tire with air, and
See how quickly it deflated.
then tomorrow or the next day, which was a Monday, to actually drive on this tire to the next town where the tire repair shop was, or the tire repair guy that he knew
Yeah.
might help us out. And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good plan, but I mean, I liked his idea of initially filling up the tire to see how bad the leak is because, and I mean, the unfortunate thing was that you could hear the air coming out, so we knew it was a bad leak. And we saw the huge piece of metal that had been, obviously, we drove over and I don't know. So, anyway, we didn't like Mayo's idea. It seemed like a really bad idea to fill up the tire again tomorrow morning and drive 3 to 5 kilometers to the next town and then hopefully get the tire replaced or something like that. So what did we do instead?
We went for dinner at the hotel restaurant, and we decided to mention it to the waitress, mention what happened, the hotel staff, just to see if they had an idea or a second opinion, right? A second
Or a
idea.
connection? Did they
Yeah.
know the tire guy?
Mhm. And that's what I like about Mexico. Somebody knows somebody that can help you.
Yeah.
It's really interesting that way. So they did actually know somebody that could come and help us put the spare tire on, or do something that would be a better idea to get us to somewhere where we could get a new tire or get it fixed, right? So
Yeah, exactly. And, it's really interesting. This is something where, as Canadians, this is where I really see a huge cultural difference. So in Canada, we really try to do things independently. Like if we need our car to be taken somewhere, if we have a flat tire and we don't know how to change the tire, generally we try to figure out how to change it ourselves, or we call a tow truck or something like that. But in Mexico, especially in these sort of situations, like it's just you and the people around you. And, in some way or another, we are going to fix this car. We're going to, get it on its way so it can go to a tire repair shop or whatever. And this is actually one of the coolest parts about, I assume it's in all of Latin America, but definitely in Mexico, where it's almost like, the community is like, hey, I know a guy. Oh, yeah, this guy, he's got an air compressor. Or this guy knows how to change tires. Or call this guy. Maybe he knows the tire guy in the next town. And it's so weird, but we knew it was going to work out.
yeah.
So, okay, this is actually what happened. In the morning, okay, the tire guy comes. Who was the tire guy?
The tire guy was the guy from the hotel.
Big network. And he wasn't really a tire guy. He just knew how to change the tire and put on the spare, right?
Hmm. Yeah, and he came
Yeah.
with his son or something like that too. But
Yeah.
he did all the work. His son just kind of observed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then the other thing that was really funny was after that, we had to go back to find Mayo. Mayo's the guy that had the air compressor.
Oh, yeah.
And what was that situation like? Because he told us where he lived. Like, how did he explain where he lived?
It was right across from the little store. Like there's one little tiny road in and out of this town, and
And
there's
3 stores, all in the same area.
all in the same area. So we knew exactly kind of where he lived because he pointed to the store where his house was right across the street from. And so we wandered up to the house, and there was his mom or something. I don't know if it was a
Yeah, I don't
family
know who it
relative,
was.
but a really nice old lady. And I guess Mayo was taking a nap, and he sent his son to help us.
Yeah, like this 8-year-old. So the sun comes down, and this is so cool because like you can't send a Canadian kid that's 8 years old to go fill up a tire. Like they probably don't know how. But this guy, super independent and smart guy, obviously. He came down and he helped us to fill up the spare tire because it was a little bit soft still. And that's it. We were all fixed up and ready to go on our way. So this situation, it could have been something that really got us down and made us feel panicked or
Stressed out.
anxious.
Mhm.
But what actually happened? Like, what was the good that came out of this situation?
Well, the cool thing is that this experience really allowed us to make a connection with the people in this town. And so the next time that we go back there, not only are we going to go back there and enjoy the time, but we're going to know people in that community. And as Canadians, I think that's a really cool experience to bring us closer to culture. And that's really what I took from the whole adventure.
Exactly. So, anyway, this, you could call it poorly planned, loose plan, whatever sort of decision that almost resulted in us not having a place to stay and having a flat tire actually turned into a cool situation where it forced us to reach out and connect with people. And I mean, pretty much everybody in the whole hotel knew what was going on. And, you know, a few of the people that worked in the town and managed this parking area and all of this stuff, they also knew us. So it's cool. At the end of the day, it really allowed us to have a memorable experience. And the next time that we go back, we'll have a few friends.
Yeah, exactly.